Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Advice with Tori. Today's advice is going Crazy. Going Crazy reached out and asking for advice about a guy she's currently talking to and really likes. They have great conversation and seem to really get along well. However, they've never talked in person. They only text. Every time she's tried to meet in person, it seemed to not work out, and she's starting to feel like he is making it not work out because he doesn't want to see her in person. And she feels like not hanging out in person is making their relationship not move forward. They've talked really personally, been shared intimate information, and all of it's been over text. And she feels like they've gotten really close, but it's time to meet in person. Going Crazy wants to know if she should be straight up about seeing each other in person or just give up and stop texting. Well, Going Crazy, my advice to you is to be straight up and have a difficult conversation. There is research that proves that relationships are less satisfying when conversation is over social media or text. And if you're going to create a lasting relationship, you're going to need to talk and hang out and flirt in person, face to face. In Bridges, Not Walls, Stewart says, "The peril of all or nothing thinking leaves one's identity extremely unstable, making one hypersensitive to the feedback." With this, he's saying that difficult conversations may be difficult for one and make them feel oversensitive, and their perception may be skewed as they're probably going to be hypersensitive about what the person has to say back to them. As you have this conversation, I advise you to ask where the relationship's going, and if it's going to move past texting, if you can hang out and get to know each other in person. As you ask him these difficult questions, to remember that you might be super sensitive to what he has to say, since it is kind of an all or nothing scenario. You're ready to go all in, see each other in person, or just not be at all together and stop texting. And as you ask him, just be a mindful listener, and whether listening to him over the phone or text, just be allowing him to speak and be patient and try to really understand where he's coming from or what he's saying. I would once again ask, where do you think this relationship's going? And just really remind him that you feel that it's really important to see each other in person for a relationship to develop. And as you guys have disclosed information to each other, and self-disclosure and being vulnerable is what really makes a relationship stronger and more intimate. And in-person communication makes for the most intimate self-disclosure, as it's more difficult to be open and honest when looking somebody in the eyes than it is over text or over the phone. I would just, once again, my advice to you, Going Crazy, with the research that I've done on self-disclosure and perception and mindful listening, that it's really important that you have this conversation, and as you have the conversation, to remember that your perception might be a little skewed because there's emotion involved and you might feel extra sensitive, and just to keep that in mind as you really listen to what he has to say, and just to be really honest as you are disclosing your personal information.